So guys, what's going on? ¿Cómo están, boys? Here and welcome back to another live stream after longest of times. Can you tell me first of all, before we begin the stream, is the audio alright? You want it higher volume? Does it sound okay? Does it look okay? Before we do that, please tell me down below how is it looks. I'm just gonna be waiting a few moments for that, and in reality, I think this game, taking into account that Napoli did kind of park the bus for the very first half, Barça, and a slow Barça, I gotta say, a very slow, methodical Barcelona, a 1-1 result is not the worst of possible scorelines we could have gotten. In reality, it's not devastating at all whatsoever. I think it's a good result away from home. Taking it back to the Camp Nou, there's still a good chance for us to progress to the next stages, to the quarterfinals. It's good enough chance. Talking about main issues, first of all, the how can I explain it? The movement for Barça was there. The intricacy of we wanted to do the passes, everything was there. But we just couldn't break a Napoli side down that was doing a very good job of keeping themselves very kind of tight at the back while still being able to kind of block the areas for Junior Firpo and Nelson Semedo to overlap. Messi had a lot of the work to do that. He put all of the kind of that creation idea into his back, trying to constantly isolate himself for the right-hand side because he knew the spaces were going to come through that single-out position. Mario Rui was going to be a player that was going to bomb forward, and Messi was taking opportunity of that when he could. That first half was hard to watch for me. It was really hard to watch because I couldn't see where Barcelona were going to get a goal from. We didn't got a single shot on target throughout those first 45 minutes. And Napoli with a counter-attack, of course, thanks in a way to Junior Firpo. Not the best of clearances, not the best at all. He's just literally lost his footing. And then we conceded that poor goal of an excuse. It was a pass from, if I'm not wrong, Callejon. It was going to be meant for Insigne, but it was left for Mertens, and then Mertens just curled past and Ter Stegen. There was no chance he was going to get to that goal, isn't it? So, yeah, in reality, please leave me your questions. Please let me know. You know how this live streams works. This is your video. You are here to discuss Napoli versus Barça, and I want to know your thoughts. So, I want to start with some of the comments you've already put before I even started the live stream. And let's go with Pauliman first. He says, I think as a positive, we can say 1-1 is a decent result. We got our away goal and surely we kill them off at home. I gotta agree with you. I think that this is for us to kill it at home. And taking into account that Arturo Vidal is not going to be present for that game because of the red card. I want to talk about Arturo Vidal individually, but I'll leave that later. Sergio Busquets is also not gonna be there. And Piqué, we don't know if he's gonna be fit for El Clásico. But those kind of very big lacking players of Arturo Vidal and Busquets, they're going to have to force us to use a much more dynamic midfield. Maybe even Rakitic, that I know a lot of you don't really like Rakitic, but maybe in someone like Riqui Puig. Who knows? Maybe he could play in the next game against Napoli. I think that we all have the chance to dream. Why not? I think that having Artur coming in the second half really revolutionized the way the tempo that Barcelona was having. Napoli, of course, also wanted to open up a little bit more after the goal from Antoine Griezmann. But of course, for that to happen, Arturo was a key member in that midfield. And hopefully with this performance, Quique Setién can finally realize that Arturo brings us that. He's simply the ticking momentum of that midfield and help us to just have a much faster rhythm. Literally, that's what Arturo can bring to the table, and hopefully Setién realizes that. Raw Tangible says, really sucks that Vidal, Piqué, and Busi will not be available. Hopefully we can smash them in the Camp Nou. Agree. Let me go down. Someone says Barça need to sign Cristiano Ronaldo. Te pasas, tío, te pasas. Loco. Henry Idagbon. Setién made some Valverde. What? Setién made some Valverde decisions in this game. I'm sorry, but I can't watch Rakitic and Busquets anymore. They do absolutely nothing defensively. We need a modern CDM. Busquets' time is simply gone. I think that Busquets is a great player when he just has someone else next to him that can help him overtake the defensive load. We saw how Rakitic, including that midfield against Eibar, helped him in that way. But then again, it's Eibar. Eibar might not be, especially this Eibar wasn't the mighty Eibar of old where they would attack and just be, much more fierce. I think that with that midfielder next to him, Busquets could have a little more of a freedom to progress the ball as he wanted and not have to worry that much about where he's going to be positioned. Today he was very slow in the way of transition the ball. His passes were still going forward. That is of no discussion. But I do tend to agree with what you mean. That is why I feel that having someone like De Jong in that CDM position for the game against Napoli at home could benefit us in the long run. My friends, when we were watching the game, they were asking me, do you think this will be a negative? Is this good? Because they didn't really know, especially one of them, he's just starting to watch football. He was asking, is this good? Busquets, because he saw Busquets wasn't really that sharp in this game. I said it could be a benefit in disguise. So yeah. And then what you were saying about Setién's made some better decisions in this game. I do tend to agree with it. I do go in the way that he wanted to approach with a much more kind of solid, balanced foundation with Rakitic. I do get where he's coming from. I would have introduced Ansu Fati perhaps a little bit earlier into the game. And yeah, those are kind of like the Valverde decisions. I do get that Setién did. Iqbal Ahmed says, seriously, we are no longer a force to be reckoned with in the Champions League with such performances. I do think how all of this adds to kind of like adds to the table together in a way that Barça, when I look at this team, I don't know about you, but when I looked at this team, they look a little bit tense. They look a little bit nervous, especially in that first half. Like, if they just keep thinking that the Champions League is this unsurmountable like effort, of course it's really hard to win the UCL, don't get me wrong. But, I mean, just go to the game. Take one game at a time. You don't have to win and be thinking already by the end of it. Just go, take it here. Try to have a great game against Napoli. Because I saw so many players just taking a little bit of an extra time to pass the ball. Like Umtiti was holding onto the ball a little bit too long. Even people like Ter Stegen. Junior Firpo certainly was a player lacking of confidence in this game, and it clearly shows. He wasn't as confident going forward defensively. He was thinking too much and just getting too overwhelmed by the end. So I think those are the key areas where Barcelona needs to improve. Forget up here. There's no problem whatsoever in getting a psychologist to help this team out. Literally, there's no problem whatsoever. I think that's actually what Barcelona should do. It doesn't help having all the chaos around us because it just completely removes the focus from this game. But for the time being, with all of that added to account, I still gotta say the 1-1 result, I would take it. A 1-0, 100% not. But with that away goal, things changes a little bit. Kartiki Singh says, I do not understand why Setién started Rakitic over Arthur. Also needed Ansu Fati brought on earlier. Yeah, I think I comment on that as well. I do think that we needed Ansu Fati a little bit earlier, especially when Napoli were open up in the spaces. You could just see literally how much effective someone like Ansu Fati could be that driving force. So many times it was Arthur and De Jong kind of progressing that ball and being the main starters of the counter-attack, when in reality someone like Ansu Fati could have been much, much better. At the end, the last kind of 5 minutes that Messi got to play with Ansu Fati, they just look much more, not synergized, but you can just see how the pace would really help Messi to get into the area with not that many bodies onto him. Because for the longest of times, whenever Messi got the ball, there was like 3 bodies on him. And of course, it's going to be hard even for Messi to try and get them past every single time. Turo Magica says, am I the only one noticing that we are actually starting to be able to fight back after being behind? I do like that about the kind of way that Setién, this team is playing in a little bit. I do get that. But I don't know, man. I think that getting behind to equalize, it's fine, but it's not something that personally I would go as far as to create. Of course, in the UCL, every goal counts. But I think when we need to get back those goals and win it, yes, it's one thing. The game, for instance, against Inter at home, where we were losing by the goal of Lautaro, it was individual skill that saved us. But I would like to see much more kind of those comebacks being inherited by kind of a, by a team performance rather than just individuals. Pulki Jain says, what the fuck, Buga? Barcelona passing was really slow sometimes. I said that. It's literally slow at times for the longest of time. The first half was so slow, methodical. I wanted to just... It wasn't Barcelona at all. We were watching in one of my screens right here, we were watching Barca in the big one, Napoli versus Barca, and in the other one, Chelsea Bayern. And let me tell you, I was watching Napoli Barca, but my eyes, they kind of tilted, you know, kind of like the meme. I was looking Chelsea Barca at the other screen as well. The thing that I was saying is that when Arthur came into the game, it looked a little bit more faster. And that's something that Arthur can bring to the table. So it's just Setién needs to start picking and trusting on Arthur. I know it has been a hard time for Arthur, especially the first half of this season. But let's hope that they can simply put that behind it and give the trust that Arthur deserves, because he's an amazing, amazing player. DS1 Football Gaming. Damn, boy. Football Gaming. BugaLuis with a set, man. I'm not David Luis, please. You say, to win the UCL, we have to take each game as one, not think about the next game and take it one by one and win. We can't be like Liverpool fans who just have the welcome to Anfield mentality. I agree, because at the end of the day, that costs you. And what happens if you have Anfield first? You know, that's a really big mistake. And that's something where Barcelona has really kind of struggled with. Because the game against Roma, it was Camp Nou first, then we go to the Olímpico. It was first go to Camp Nou and then we go to Anfield. So luck is always going to be out of the draw, and we cannot rely on simply home advantage to win these games. We simply cannot. We need to start winning those away games. Be putting some of those performances where we can just go like, bang, Barca are on top. You know, they won away from home convincingly. That is something that we need to start to change. Our mentality is that, okay, it's away from home. You look it right now in me. I'm confident. I still say a 1-1 result is a good result. But we need to start seeing those bigger games, you know. I hate to compare it, by like Real Madrid. I remember when they were going for their triples, for el triplete de champions, they would have those games like against Bayern Munich away from home where they would just win solid by 3-1. You know, Barca also had that before against PSG in the last time we won the Champions League. 3-1 victory at the Parc des Princes. Those games, those kind of single individual just performances add to that because it makes it even harder for the opposition to turn it around. Vic Williams says, I want to see the young at CDM with Arthur and Ricky Puig. I think if you ask me at this current stage, it would be probably the young Arthur and Rakitic, but Ricky Puig should certainly make an appearance in the game. Literally, we don't have any other midfielders that can play in that one. What else? Henry Idabon, Firpo, man, I don't understand. Why did we let Cucurella go? This work can't stop making stupid decisions. From your comment, I do not really know if you're taking on Firpo. I think that Firpo is a player, I don't want to say to the level of like Andre Gomez and things like that. Because for instance, if you don't know, if you follow this channel for a long time, and you have to follow it for a long time to know this, Andre Gomez, when he was at Barça, at Valencia, one of my favorite players ever. Literally. Well, favorite not in the sense that I think he was good, but favorite from the sense that I just wanted for him to kind of be against adversity and try to work his way up into the ladder of Barca. And Junior Firpo is kind of like now this player that you can see he's low of confidence. Some people are signaling him in out, and the only way to kind of fix that is just be behind him. Firpo is a good addition, yes, because he's a backup left back and he has a lot of room to grow. But we should also not kill him for these games. I do see where you're coming from though, because you expect from a Barcelona quality player to show up in this. And perhaps someone like Cucurella would 100% to do so because his attitude is much more of an outgoing person, of having a lot of confidence in himself. Firpo right now just look lackluster. Firpo right now looks like he needs someone to just be like, okay man, you got this. This is your position right now. You're going to play. You're going to try to get it past whatever player of Napoli like Diego Deme or Fabian Ruiz, take them one-on-one. You need that confidence. And he just doesn't have it right now. He just simply doesn't have it. Wait, I'm gonna be reading more comments. Let me just take a water break. Got 90% of the time. John 9 Kane Connor says, I hear people talking bad about Barca. We play good. I like the tiki-taka, but the only thing, it is too slow. Yes, it's too slow. Today, I was watching, before the Napoli game, a podcast. It's called Football Ranks by BR Football. And one of the guys mentioned a thing about Barca just having a mixture between what they actually want to do with Setién, that is kind of this fast tiki-taka football like we all know, and the players that we currently have really do not meet those requirements. And I think that's very, very true. It's true in the sense that I cannot tell you here and be confident and expect Sergio Busquets, Rakitic, even people like Gerard Piqué to be pressing or to be closing in those spaces as fast as and efficient as they should have done when they were younger. So there needs to be a change. If you want to play this style of football, then give the opportunity. Pass the baton to the players that actually can do it, like Arthur, like De Jong, like Ricky Puig, you know? So that's a thing that really bothers me. If we're going to make the transition, if we're going to make the change, give the players the chance that can actually do so. Well, let them play. You know, that's kind of where I think it needs to happen. Milonga says, BugaLuis, help me understand why the board is worth planning. I want to talk about the board, but first I want to talk about one more thing of this game that really bothered me, and that is Arturo Vidal getting on front with Mario Rui. I don't know, guys. I want you to let me know right now who was the player to initiate that battle, that kind of fight between them. Because Arturo Vidal should have known that tackle that he did on Mario Rui was going to be 100% a yellow card. Everyone could tell that was a yellow card. Why in the world then would you stand up if Arturo Vidal initiated, which I don't know, that's why I'm asking, to go face to face to Rui and then get that extra yellow card? Literally makes no sense whatsoever. I know it's heat of the moment. I know Arturo Vidal fuels on those fires, but that's something that literally at this stage, professional level, you should be able to control yourself. Do not snap like that, because at the end of the day, we are losing a great revulsivo, a great substitute player or even starter for the return leg. And it's a big miss. It's a big miss. We don't have that many luxuries in the bench to bring on, and luxuries that can actually affect the game. So Arturo Vidal is going to be a miss. AB10 Fútbol Buga, ¿qué pasó con la causa de Arturo? Yo sé, brother, no sé, tipo, tendría que haberse calmado un poquito. What can Barça do to break down teams that sit back and just park the bus? Because in order to win the Champions League and play better, we need to learn how to do that. To be able to break down a team that needs to park the bus, that was what Napoli was doing for the very first 45 minutes, we need to have more single out kind of one-on-one tricky players. Those are the players that I like. Players that always are going to be a little bit flashy. And I'm talking about your Ansu Fati, that utilizes his space to be able to stretch it and widen the defense of the opposition. We're talking about people like Dembele. We're talking about people like even someone like Coutinho, if he really wants to. For me, for instance, when we let go of Neymar is a player that can do those two things. Can get past the opposition using his space and dribbling, and can be able to cut inside and be able to find those gaps through passing and once again through his vision and dribbling. Dembele is able to do one of those things, which is the pace. Coutinho is able to do one of those other things, which is the kind of associative play. So we kind of try to surpass the lack of a Neymar using two players, and that is not exactly what we needed. And that's the very first bad thing I think the board did. I think that we need a player like that. And most squads in the world, they always have a player like that. Raheem Sterling, we're talking Man City. Liverpool, we have someone like Mane. We're talking about Bayern Munich, Gnabry, Coman. You're taking a look at Juventus. Juventus is right now I want to say a shithole. Sarri plays Higuaín, Dybala, and then, I don't know. Well, Douglas Costa, if they have it. If Sarri wants Douglas Costa. There are examples of players like that can open up and stretch a defense. And Barcelona right now, the only one that we have is Ansu Fati. And even when we have him, we are not playing him. So that's kind of the way we should use to open up those defense. Julie says, am I the only one noticing that we are actually starting to be able to fight back after being behind? I think I answered that question already. Brave Goat would have really helped. He's far better on the ball than Vidal. I do agree, but he's not able to play in the Champions League because as we signed him off the transfer window, there's no time for Barca to register back him for the UCL. So he's not going to be playing UCL matches. He went to the UCL game to be able to get more interactions, know his teammates better, but he's not going to be able to play. Michael Reyes 11, Griezmann was a bit off. I think that's something that will come simply because of the position that Griezmann is currently playing. And this is such a new setup. Griezmann is used to play with space in front of him. There's completely a different scenario. And Griezmann has said it many times. One of the reasons that he came to Barca wasn't only to win trophies, but to learn this new style of football. And that's exactly what he's doing, learning. He has played for the kind of most time of his career with Atletico, a moment where they didn't have to have the initiative. So this is a new area to his game that that Griezmann is learning. That's gonna tell you about that. Raheem Sterling. Messi always chokes away from home. I didn't think he necessarily choked. I think that it's just really hard when you have a team literally managed by one of the hardest ballers in the world, in Gattuso, and then he just literally tells his side, just bully Messi. You know, it's gonna be hard. Even Messi in those days, it's gonna be hard to do so, and that will be hard. You know. Timo Cameraman said, "Were you amused by watching this game? Honestly, amused in the sense." Okay, I think amused means fun. Don't call me on that. I think amused means fun. Amused, yeah. To be honest, not really. The second half was much more exciting. The first one was really dreadful to watch. The Champions League always gets you excited for whatever reason because it's the UCL. But yeah, I wasn't really kind of like super excited with Barcelona, because to be able to be excited, Barca can put all of their efforts to play in one way, but then if their team kind of counteracts you, then it's going to be really hard to do so. So yeah, I wasn't really surprised. I wasn't really excited with the game, but that's what it is. Adita P says, do you think Bernardo Silva would be a good idea for the summer? I do think that Bernardo Silva is a great player and could be, people hate this to say, but once Messi leaves, he's going to be someone that could come in and recreate a similar role. But I think we need much more. I'm not saying Neymar, but we need a player like that. We need a starter forward of what I just mentioned. A much more of a tricky player with a lot of pace that can stretch out those defenses. Because how many years have teams learned how to play against Barcelona? For ages now. So they know what to do. We need to continue to be able to break those the team buses. We need to be able to take those buses out the field. So, yeah. Good evening. Rasan BM, what about Haaland joining Barca? He's crazy. He's literally so good, but I want to see an area to his game where he's able to associate himself with tight spaces, kind of like Griezmann, where he's struggling like this right now. Haaland is very good when he has space in front of him, and Dortmund, he will have abundance of that. So I think it's a perfect club for him to join. At Barca, he won't have that much. I'm not saying he will be great, but I won't say he will be like amazing either. Animich Kumar says, do you think we have won the game if Alba were be here instead of Firpo? I cannot really tell you. Firpo was an individual mistake. Anything can happen at this stage of the game, so I don't really want to blame it on just one player. I cannot tell you much. We can get Kevin De Bruyne instead of Fabian Ruiz. If you wanna spend bank, then yeah. Fernanda says, Ansu should. Why is your name? I don't think your actual name Fernanda. I think you're like catfish. But even so, it's so long. Ansu should have started along with Arthur in place of Vidal and Rakitic. I love Griezmann for that away goal. It's priceless. But he was anonymous in the game. So weird. I agree with that. Completely anonymous in a sense. Vicky Williams says Lautaro for Haaland. Lautaro 100%. I think his qualities associate much better with our team than Haaland, so I guess I would go with him. But overall, guys, I think this game was in a sense a small victory to tell us not only that, well, we got away from home and we can be confident to progress if we do a good game in the next one, but also into saying that there's still so many things that need to be fixed. Quique Setién can do so much to send information to change the style of play, but we still need to be able to fix the players. The players, in some situations, they're not being as confident, they're not being as effective as they should be in this new system, and that is something that Setién needs to start putting his hand in there. He needs to start shaking things up, because right now we are playing this new style of football with the slow, methodical Valverde kind of mentality of past. That needs to change if we are going to be progressing, not only through the round of 16, but the quarterfinals, to the semifinals, and who knows, a potential final. And certainly must improve in the short term to play against Real Madrid. So that is something that we need to fix. That's going to be everything for the time being, guys. I have other things to do. I enjoyed so much doing live streams once again. And all of you, yeah, it's great seeing your collaboration here. We really like here in this channel when we all collaborate, talk about Barça. It really makes it better. It makes it really, really good. So yeah, overall, hopefully you have enjoyed, and remember that we are gonna be having tomorrow a Real Madrid versus Manchester City live stream as well, if you want to talk about that game. And more importantly, a preview for that game also is already uploaded on the channel. So do not missing out. Go check out the preview. Go check out the preview. It's a much more relaxed, chill version of it. And I'm going to be reading your comments now and be answering some of them in the comments. So do not worry. Do not worry. After this video is processed, you may be seeing some of your answers of the live stream in the comment section. That is something that I'm going to take the effort to do for the time being. Quickly, final questions. Let's see. Quickly. Milonga, will Alba and Roberto be ready for the second leg? Alba, I don't think so. Roberto, I don't think so. Maybe kind of like getting into fitness. Angel Sulsona, we really need Lautaro. Yes, I agree. Your first name and then Ajuya. Will Piqué absence hurt us in the Clásico? Yes, I think it will hurt us in the Clásico a bit. He's always stands up for the Clásico for games like that. I want Dembélé to have injury-free season for once. If he didn't perform, so him. But please, I hope for the best. How do you think Setién did for his UCL debut? I think Setién did alright. I think he didn't kind of like over committed himself. He didn't like went super crazy. He wanted to get a win, certainly. He wanted to go kind of like a more pragmatic approach. It hurt him in a bit. It didn't do that much at the end, but alright. So yeah, that's gonna be it for the time being. See you in the next one. Take care. Ciao.